Mind you, I'm driving at probably 55 miles per hour. And this actually turned into another anxiety I was not prepared for. I cannot just be looking at sick people all day. I felt like at any second I was going to pass out. I was pushing the anxiety down. Hello everybody, welcome to, well, normally I would say vlog, but this isn't really a vlog. I just thought I would do a little sit down. I've mentioned my anxiety so much. You guys have also mentioned your anxiety to me, things that have helped. I kind of just wanted to word vomit just my entire experience of anxiety throughout my life because it's changed, it's gone into different forms, it's bizarre. But I mean, to be honest, I genuinely feel like I was born with anxiety. Like, I'm not even kidding me. I'm not even kidding me. I'm not even kidding me, bitch. I don't remember a time where I have not had anxiety, if that makes sense. Preschool, anxiety. Swim lessons as a child, wake up, stomach in knots, don't want to go, I'm scared. But even before going to school, anything like that, I had this weird thing where I was horrified of bees and kind of like any insect, but it was specifically bees, and I genuinely would not go outside for the entire summer because there were bees outside. I would sometimes emerge around 5 or 6 because I know that bees kind of go away at that time. I mean, my parents were just like, what the heck? My dad was like, we'll take away your swing set if you're not going to be using it. And I was like, good, take it. Like, I just was not interested. I was like, I'm safe in here. I don't want to get stung by something. To this day, I've never been stung by a bee, and I'm still curious if maybe I'm allergic because I don't really know. I feel like the first time I remember really feeling horrible, I don't want to go, like there was nothing wrong, but I just didn't want to do it and I was scared. And obviously that's normal for a child, but this was like, you know, knots in my stomach. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like, my life will be over if I do this. Like, I don't know what it is. But swim lessons was the first one. And swim lessons are sketchy. I mean, they could be, I don't know, if you're afraid of water, like I get it, but like I wasn't. I was literally so young, and I remember my mom would wake me and whoever else she was babysitting up to like go to swim practice, and I'd be like I would be on the verge of tears. Honestly, all of that stuff I realized later in life was anxiety through therapy, because like I knew obviously as a kid I didn't want to go outside because of bees and stuff, which I just like thought was funny and just like what a weird kid thing. But no, it's pretty much anxiety, yeah. So I kind of had that my whole life. Even like when I'd go to 4th grade, 5th grade, there'd be random days where I just felt like breaking down crying because my mom, like, I don't know if it's also because my mom was a stay-at-home mom. Maybe I was so like connected with her, and anytime I had to leave, I'd be scared. Like, I don't really know what it is. I don't know where it came from. My brother also has really bad anxiety, but I genuinely think this is like, I was born with it. I don't know. But when I was younger, I didn't know it was anxiety, so I didn't know how to handle it. I mean, I definitely had it all through high school and stuff, but like it wasn't terrible. Like, I just kind of dealt with it and nothing crazy bad happened, you know, it was just kind of whatever. I will say I did get rear-ended my senior year of high school, and I was really scared to ride in anyone's car after that because I would just be like, I don't trust anyone. But I think that's kind of a normal response. I don't know, but I eventually got over that. The first time I really had a crazy physical anxiety symptom was, I believe, around 2011. I was driving my friend at the time, me and her. It was nighttime. We were driving on, if you're in Omaha, you know, it's the Dodge Express, which if you don't know, Dodge Street is like a major street that runs through all of Omaha. And when I was in like middle school, maybe they made like an expressway. So basically it goes over Dodge where all the lights are and everything. And it's like a little like faster way to get somewhere. Anyways, we were on that, and I was feeling totally fine. You know, I was just driving us like normal, like nothing's weird. And she was a nurse, and she brought up this case that happened the other day. And she was like, it's just so crazy. She was like, this man got into a really bad car accident and now he's paralyzed like from the neck down. And she was like, I don't know if like what's gonna happen, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what came over me. I have heard things like this, obviously, and I would literally watch like ER shows when I was little. Like, I'm not like, it's not like the first time I'd ever thought of that. And I don't know what happened, except all I remember is it felt like everything was shutting down. Mind you, I'm driving, okay, at probably 55 miles per hour. I felt like everything was like going, unsure how to explain. I just remember like slowing down really fast and pulling over, thank God. And I literally was like, what happened? Like, what was that? And I got so freaked out, and she was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, I think so. But we were about 5 minutes away from her house. So I gathered my thoughts, gathered my bearings, and I was like, okay, I think I'm good. However, in the back of my head, I'm like, am I about to have a stroke or something? Like, what the fuck was that? Honestly, driving after that for a good maybe 6 months, I was pushing the anxiety down because every time I would drive, I would be so scared that feeling would happen again. Like, this is when I really started having other people drive sometimes because I would just not be okay with driving someone else and feeling like I was going to pass out, because that's like the scariest feeling. I remember at the time my boyfriend lived maybe like a 15-minute drive from me, and every drive was a struggle. Like, I was like, okay, I just got to make it there. And like nothing crazy happened. Like, I didn't get into like a life-altering accident. You know, I wasn't, whatever. This is how anxiety works, I guess. So that was going on for a while. And then I feel like it kind of subsided, but then I got a therapist in Omaha. And I'm going to be totally honest, I don't really remember going to therapy in Omaha, not because it was like a thought I need to get out of my conscious. I just like don't really remember. I feel like I probably went for like a couple months or something. And at that point I was kind of getting over the driving thing. So I was like, I don't know. I just wasn't finding a benefit from it or whatever. Also, it's a lot easier when your parents are paying for it because you're under their insurance. Yeah, it's a lot easier to not care about therapy when your parents are paying for it. My college experience is really weird. So for 1 year, I went to university. It was like 45 minutes from home. So I lived in Omaha. I went to UNL, University of Omaha at Lincoln, for 1 year. And basically the whole first semester, I was like, how the fuck do I get out of here? I was so homesick, which is bizarre because I lived 45 minutes from home. I could literally drive home every weekend, which I kind of did sometimes. I wouldn't say I had crazy anxiety. I was just like, I don't like change. I just want to be home. Like, I don't know. That was weird. Flash forward to 2015 or whatever. I just moved to LA and I'm fine. Doesn't make sense, but okay. After that, I transferred back to Omaha. I went to some community colleges and I went to EMT school, which I really loved. No anxiety really there for some reason. I loved EMT school. I actually have my EMT certification. It's definitely not up to date, but like I did get it. And I will say I was like one of 2 people who passed the first time in the class. So I was like, maybe I'll do respiratory therapy school because that sounds fun. I believe it was like a 2-year thing and I'd get a certification. I could go work, hospitals, whatever I want. My mom was a paramedic and my dad was a firefighter. So I feel like in my brain, I was like, that makes sense. Like something like that. I also really love medical stuff. As soon as I got into like anatomy and physiology, I swear to God, that class was like 3.5 hours. And I felt like at any second I was going to pass out just sitting there. I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously it's anxiety, but I would excuse myself so many times to use the restroom. This is also the time I was working at Target. I do remember a specific amount of time that I was working at Target. I worked on the sales floor, right? So I was like putting stuff on the shelves. I was zoning. I was helping customers on the floor, whatever. So I'm happy that I was like moving around. I think that actually helped. If I was a cashier, I think I would have literally had an anxiety attack because I did get called up to cashier a couple times because when you're on the floor and they get busy, sometimes they'll call people up because everyone's supposed to know how to cashier. I do remember getting pulled up a couple times and being like, there's no way I can finish this. Like I was sweating and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm just standing here. Like, I don't know. It's really weird. But work eventually got to a point where I was literally going to a bathroom like once every 45 minutes. I'm not even kidding, because I would just be like, I need like 5 minutes to like not feel anxious. I don't know. I genuinely think it's the lighting in there, and also at malls. I would feel this way at malls as well. I finished, I believe, a semester or a year at respiratory therapy, and I was just like, this isn't for me. Mind you, being in a hospital was giving me extreme anxiety, like thinking about pulling people's trach tubes out and like monitoring their ventilator and just all that. I was like, I cannot just be looking at sick people all day, I just realized. So I'm gonna go. That was like the most anxiety I'd ever felt up to that point. I was just very unsure why I felt like I would faint, why I felt like, and mind you, I've never fainted before. Okay. So then I moved to LA and have really no anxiety about moving to LA. Didn't really feel homesick, nothing like that. My friend who lives in LA, he actually flew to Omaha to drive with me to LA. And at that point, I was still like a little freaked out. I still have never really truly recovered from this driving anxiety thing. Like it still hits me to this day. But driving to LA, I swear to God, I drove 45 minutes where that school was, UNL, where I went to school. And then he drove the rest of the way, which is, I don't know, a whole day. But it worked. He liked driving and I was relieved, whatever. And then when I got to LA, everything was fine. I didn't really feel anxiety. I was having so much fun with Erin and our roommate Ariel that had moved here too. And I was just so excited for everything. You know, like all our friends were here. We had like Matt and Zane and everybody. Like we were just so excited. And truly the first like 4 years here felt new. It was pretty crazy. And then I guess I did have one little setback, but so Erin's friend Sammy came out with her and she obviously needed to go to the airport to go back home after she had came out here with her and we hung out for a while. And I was driving everyone to the airport. Mind you, now would never, okay? With what I know, I'm not driving a car full of people to the fucking airport, okay? I can barely drive 2 people in the car right now. Like, 1 person's fine. 2, if they're talking, I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack. Like, I don't know what's going on. We started driving to the airport. There was a cop behind us, and I don't know, I guess I started like making my anxiety get real crazy, and I was just like, someone else needs to drive, I'm so sorry. So that was fine, switch drivers, whatever. Same thing happened when Aaron and I were driving to a Target one time. And this actually turned into another anxiety I was not prepared for, which was escalator anxiety. We're going to Target. We're also with our friend Ricky Montgomery. You might know him. He's like a big artist now, but he was like our Vine friend at the time. We were driving to Target, and I was driving the 2 of them. And of course, I just felt that, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, Aaron, can you drive? So I pulled over. She started driving, whatever. I actually hate that because it makes me feel small. Like, it makes me feel like, I don't know. The driving anxiety thing for me is really, really, really self-deprecating. I don't know if that's the term. It's really, it makes me feel low. Like, I used to love driving, and I wouldn't care how many people were in the car. So Aaron's driving us to Target. We get there, and there's an escalator that goes up to the Target. And I literally, I sat down on the escalator. I was like, I had to sit down on that damn escalator. And then every escalator I came across for maybe the next year, I was like, I cannot do it. And you guys, during this escalator anxiety, I went to Universal Studios. And if you know Universal in LA, there are literally, I believe, 5 like mile-long escalators to get to the bottom of the park, which is like where Transformers are and the Mummy ride and a bunch of stuff that's like fun, and I wanted to go down there. I literally had to have someone like hold my back every time. There was one time I actually asked if I could use the elevator, because there's an elevator for people that need it, you know, if they have like a wheelchair or something. And I was like, I feel stupid, but like literally this will solve my problem. Like, if I could just use this elevator. But no, I took the escalators every time. I went a bunch of times during that time, and I was just like, I just can't look. I don't know. It was scary. So not only was I having driving anxiety, I was also having escalator anxiety. And then I was like, I should probably go see a therapist. At this point, I was driving, but I wasn't driving on like freeways. Like, I remember our roommate, Ariel, she had left her car, I think, over by the airport. And she was like, is there any way you can like pick me up? I forgot what it was. And I was like, sure, but it's going to take a long time because I'm going to take side streets. Like, I could not drive on the freeway. The freeway freaked me out, especially if we were stopped. That's when I was like, gotta go. Then I started therapy in LA, and at the time it was pretty close to our apartment, so like I didn't have to drive any crazy streets. And I don't know, I can't say specifically what therapy helped me with driving anxiety. I honestly believe my driving anxiety is just gonna come and go in my life. I am not really sure. Because not like anything she said, or we didn't like work through a lot with the whole driving part, but we were working on other things, which obviously probably did help. But mind you, I still have driving anxiety to this day. It's just not as bad. If I'm driving by myself, I'm normally completely fine. Like, totally fine, whatever. If there's one person in the car, I'm scared. And I know therapy is a privilege. Therapy can be freaking expensive. For me, I was just like, I have to. Like, I can't live like this, you know? I hate going into Target. I hate going into the mall. I hate going into anywhere with lighting like that. I don't like escalators. I don't like to drive. Help. So I did do therapy for about 10 years. I really don't think anything specifically helped me with the driving thing. Like I said, I think it was just maybe working through other things. I don't know. Some things that did help me, especially during the school and work portion of my anxiety, was my therapist in Omaha. I do remember her saying, you know that you can leave at any time, like go outside if you have to. Just like know that in your head, like you can go outside. Like, even if I'm working, yeah, I can go outside. I'll be like, hold on, I'm having anxiety. Let me go outside. So that was nice to know. Like, oh yeah, I'm not trapped here, but it didn't always like solve the problem. So at this point, I obviously still have anxiety. I have really bad physical anxiety, but I take Prozac, which I started over, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago. I feel like it's helped me tremendously. I'm also prescribed propranolol, which is really a beta blocker. It, I believe, was meant for like stage fright. So it's really good in anxiety moments when you just need your anxiety symptoms to go away. So it just gets rid of the symptoms of anxiety. It doesn't get rid of like anything in your head. So like taking a propranolol every day won't help like an SSRI would, you know, like a Prozac or a Lexapro. I mean, I had to take that before the Taylor Swift concert. I think just getting older also helps. I'm sure if I had kids, maybe it would get worse. I don't really know, but I think getting older, it helps, just being a little bit more mature and just knowing yourself better. I feel like that's helped me with anxiety a little bit, honestly. Prozac obviously has helped tremendously. I don't know how long I'll be on it. Also, like now, if something is really making me anxious, I'll be like, no matter what happens today, at the end of the day, I'm still going to be laying in bed watching The Sopranos with Nolan, getting a little, and that is great for me. And I can look forward to that every night. You know what I mean? Like, that's something I can just be like, okay, that's something I can focus on that will be happening no matter what happens today. I know a lot of people have said they have driving anxiety. I think a lot of it is like they're scared to drive. Like they're 15, 16 and they're like, or even like 20 and they're like, I'm just too scared. There's too many people, which that makes sense. I will say mine was not like that. It was like, I'm going to faint at any second. I'm honestly curious if anyone has the same experience with driving because it is so annoying. Oh, I wanted to throw this in there and I know Tesla is like, but I will say when I got the Tesla, it helped. It helped my driving anxiety so much just because, and this is like with any electric vehicle at this point, I think, because I knew if I was on the freeway, I could throw that bitch into autopilot or like whatever, auto drive. And I knew if something happened, if I fainted, which I never have, that it would slowly pull over and be fine. Yeah, I really hope I covered what I wanted to cover. I wrote a little outline, but thanks for listening. Please comment if you've had any similar experiences or what's helped you, because I'm curious, like maybe something you guys have done will help me. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on Sunday for a regular vlog. Don't worry. Bye, guys.